Good morning, one and all. Welcome to Cockerel Doodle Doo. What a wonderful day. It's AngeBall Eve, which is always a great day, as well as to all the Jewish people, their friends and their families. Happy New Year. Hag Sameach, Lashana Tova. And as you can see, we've got a full set today. I don't know what the full set is of, but we have a full set. Three of Tottenham on tours, and Mr. James Flower. How are you, James?
Yeah, I'm really well, boys. How are you guys?
All good.
All good, all good. Then we got my little brother, my mini me, Ryan. How are we, brother?
All good. Happy New Year and to everyone in the chat. Hopefully it's a good show.
And the partner in crime, my fellow compatriot from Ange Management, which is back on Sunday. And I'm just saying to Johnny, I don't know if I'm more excited for the game or that show on Sunday. So much I love that show. Johnny, how are you, brother?
Yeah, all good, all good. Sun shining again. Can't believe it. I mean, who'd have thought summer would turn up in the mid of September? Only waiting about 7 months.
I do have to say, and I always find it the way, it always seems to find the weather on Rosh Hashanah. No matter when it's in September or October, Rosh Hashanah always seems to bring good weather. But before we get into everything, let's just welcome everyone as we do. Yeah, I've gone and jinxed it now. That's right, yeah. So big up to the brother that is Kuva. We will be talking about the first 100 days of Ange. Andrew, big up. Drula, good morning to you. DJ Green Alert, Happy New Year to you as well, my friend. Chris Allen, we have SP Rocket, we have Mark Cousins, good morning to you, Mark. Benjamin Foster, and of course, as always, Colin Cross, like everyone else. JJ is in the place. Paul is in the place. Lee Smithy Smith, how are you, good sir? And we've got Lisa. Good morning, Lisa. I hope you're good. I hope you're well. Right. First topic of conversation, and I'm going to read a massive thing out from Spurs. The NFL have extended their partnership with Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. And I put a tweet out as well immediately to say, do you know what? When I get it wrong, I say I'm wrong. And I was convinced that due to the Joe Lewis issue, that this could be a huge area of concern for the NFL and Tottenham Hotspur and sponsorship. But I was wrong. And they've extended their partnership. So I'm just going to read this. It's got some lovely words from a certain person, which Ryan knows about because he shared it. But then I found where it was. This is on Tottenham's official website. So I'm going to read this. Then we'll have a little discussion and people in the chat get your thoughts in. So, Tottenham Hotspur and the National Football League today announced the expansion of their partnership through to the 2029-2030 season. As part of the agreement, Tottenham Hotspur will be given the official status of the NFL, of the home of the NFL in the UK, kind of like, to me, our special relationship with Real Madrid. Under terms of the expanded partnership, a minimum of 2 regular season NFL games a year will continue to be played at the world-class, multi-purpose, multi-use stadium. The only purpose-built stadium for the NFL outside of the US, with bespoke facilities, including its own playing surface, locker rooms, and media areas. The first of its kind partnership has already delivered a series of unforgettable games in front of sold-out crowds in Tottenham, with 12 of the league's 32 teams having already experienced the stadium. 2 games are set to be played there during the 2023 NFL season games in October. Our partnership, here we go, this is Coys Daniel speaking now. Our partnership with the NFL has been integral to our wider vision of for the stadium, a delivering sports and entertainment destination in London, creating additional revenue sources of revenue to invest in our football activities is a key part of the club's financial model, said Daniel Levy, chairman of Tottenham Hotspur. NFL game days at our stadium are special occasions where we see fans from around the world descend on Tottenham, bringing so much vibrancy to the high road and supporting our local economy. As the NFL continues to grow its fan base throughout Europe, we are extremely proud to be given the official status as home of the NFL in the UK and look forward to seeing the excitement that game days bring to Tottenham for many years to come. We are excited to extend our partnership with Tottenham Hotspur through to the 2029-30 season and look forward to hosting future NFL games in this world-class Tottenham Hotspur Stadium as the official home of the NFL, said NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell. Sorry. Growing the game globally is a major... Thank you very much. My English is starting to... I've never read so much live on a stream, so my English is starting to... I might go into Hebrew. Growing the game globally is a major strategic priority for the league, and our commitment to Tottenham Hotspur Stadium will allow us to continue to bring extraordinary NFL experience to fans in London whilst creating a positive social and economic impact on the local community. I'm not going to go into what Sadiq Khan says because really I couldn't give two fucks what that man says. But let's go around. James, what have you made of this, the extension to the partnership and what I've just read?
So, I mean, that was just like a story time with Brian Daigle, to be fair.
That's a very concerning time to be.
But to be honest, I think it's all good things. It is good for the club. There's no wrong or right. It's good for the club if you're doing the football things first. All of this stuff, I don't think anyone can sort of question Daniel Levy's ability to get more businesses in and try and reek every penny from every source he can do. So he's doing the right thing. But it only counts if he starts doing the right thing on the pitch as well. Otherwise, what's the point?
Yep, you're right, Ryan. I know. I was going to wait. I was like, do I go Johnny, Ryan, Johnny? But yeah, I can't wait much longer. Go on, Ryan. Off you go.
Well, I was the one that sent you this the article from the Spurs site about what Daniel Levy said, and we all know, we've all seen it. He's not put every penny that he promised to go back into the club, and never will. He will continue to use the NFL to make as much money as possible, just like he does with concerts, just like he does with boxing, etc., etc. And we will see a minute amount of money, just like this summer, just like the previous summer, and just like the summer before that. What I will say is, on the benefits of the business, well done. Look, he's creating more revenue. Whether we will see the full amount, we all know we won't. And I'm sure Brian is knowing that there is now going to be a few matches in October, probably the middle of October. Is he thinking about extending for a couple of weeks?
No, you can't get me back to my wife in the good city of Toronto soon enough. You cannot get me there soon enough. I don't care. Ilana and Toronto are more... there's no reason... I wouldn't extend for anything. I need to get back to my wife in that city. But Johnny, before I come to you, just to say thank you, David, always supporting the channel with super chats. I really appreciate it. Good morning there, Brian, Johnny, James, and Ryan, and all in the chat. Leave you out, please. Yes, if I had a New Year wish, that's what I would wish for. It wouldn't come true, but it's what I would wish for. Johnny, over to you, buddy, with NFL.
Look, I'm an NFL fan, so for me,
Same.
you know,
Same.
I love it.
Who do you support?
I don't. It's weird. Like growing up, I was the Chicago Bears, Walter Payton, Refrigerator Perry. You know, I've always been into it because I was friendly with Andy Jacobs, who's on TalkSport. I think I've been drawn because of my son towards Miami and to
my own Dolphins. Yeah, same.
And so
You're Dolphin. Okay. Let me just tell, before you go on, Johnny, let me just tell you a funny story about the team and why I support the Saints. And then I'll let you go. But the question was asked. So, growing up as a kid, when NFL was on Channel 4 ages ago, I was a San Francisco 49er fan because I was obsessed with Jerry Rice. Obsessed with that man. The greatest wide receiver you'll ever see, in my opinion.
It was a great
But then when I moved to Toronto in 2017, I couldn't support San Francisco anymore because that was a kid, and then that was before I said I can't support or wear anything red. So I was like, right, I can't be a 49ers fan based on that reason. And I was trying to work out who I should support. Now, I'm not going to say who this person is because it could easily get back to them, but someone that I loved cheated badly on someone I love more than life itself, like a second mum to me, and found out that they've been cheating. This bastard got into a lot of trouble over here and then pissed off to America and found a rich tart to marry to get a green card, and she lived in Carolina. So Carolina became my Arsenal. I hate anything from Carolina. And in that season, it was the year the Philadelphia Eagles won the Super Bowl. I said, right, whoever knocks Carolina out is who I support. Hence, why I'm a New Orleans Saint fan. That is the only reason. It's not like people used to love the Raiders sign or the Dallas Cowboys sign or whatever sign. That's the only reason I'm a Saints fan and proud. Go Saints. Back to you, Johnny, with the NFL partnership.
Yeah, it was quite funny because back in the day when I supported, there wasn't really, you might got a tiny little Channel 4 show about American football. And Angie Jacobs, back in the day when you used to have to ring those telephone numbers to get the NFL, and you get a report, he was English, right? And he would be on the phone and he would go, and live to your reporter now, Mr. Andy Jackson, right? And he put on this American accent, and then we go live now to Philadelphia, and then he put on a different guy. He'd be a different guy, but he was all of them, right? He was very clever. He was a funny guy. Anyway, going back to the stadium, look, the stadium service debts are around about £20 million a year. Okay, these events are crucial to pay back. So when we say the money doesn't come back to the club in that sense, what we're talking about here is that these events go to pay off and service the debt of the stadium, which a lot of it had been restructured, but there was a balance left of the debt which hadn't been restructured. And with interest rate rises, that repayment number has gone up and up and up. So whilst it doesn't look exactly like that money's going straight back into the club, I do believe that these events do contribute vastly to paying back the debt and giving us the money to spend something into the club and the transfers. Because without it, if we didn't have that right now, if we didn't have this revenue stream right now, I think the club would be in a lot of trouble. Personally, that's my feeling, because the build cost just basically escalated. I think the long-term goal with Whitewebb's development could possibly be an NFL training pitch, training facilities, and obviously the long-term goal, regardless of what was said in here, I've seen comments from top people in America that the aim is to one day have a European division of the NFL, which would be probably London would have two, maybe Wembley and us, and Germany, and probably another couple of countries. So I think it will happen. But what's more interesting is, does that make it more interesting for an American buyer to come in, or an American consortium to potentially come in should Joe Louis sell the club? Because, you know, to have such an established, to be a London NFL base and the football club and the growth of the EPL, this could be a massive, massive draw for potential buyers. More so than, you know, I know people looking at it as a negative, but I look at it as a really huge positive on the front of generating income and potentially drawing in investment, and potentially, hopefully, long-term naming rights.
Oh, you mean that the thing that's taken for 4 or 5 years? Okay, do you know what? When it comes to the investment part of it, and you were talking about it yesterday, I see where you're coming from. It will alert American buyers or North American buyers having that added facet. But I don't want to make this all about Daniel. We are going to talk about the great man Ange, but I've had to start a question or a comment, and I was ordered to do it, and you can see him smiling away. Oliver asked Ryan, or does Ryan realise Daniel Levy doesn't literally pocket the money? Levy agenda is ridiculous. He is not the problem. I mean, what I will say before I let Ryan off the lead and let him go, and you can see him chomping at the bit, he's already like that, is you have come to the wrong channel. You've walked into the
He's
wrong
fine here, he's fine here.
for saying the Levy agenda. Well, you've walked into the wrong channel for saying there's a Levy agenda. You really have. Ryan, off you go in a pleasant manner.
Yeah, I'm just going to be. I never once said that he pockets all the money. I said we just don't see all of it. So I said, I mean, there's been 23 years of evidence to show you that he's never gone the extra mile in the transfer market. So to say that I have a Levy agenda when I've got all the evidence and all the facts is just complete lies. But overall, business side of things, you cannot complain with Daniel Levy. Me, Brian, Johnny, James, Stell, everyone that's Levy out, they look at that stage and we call it what it is. It's a masterpiece. It's a masterpiece of how to build a football stadium or a full events arena, whatever you want to call it. What we have an issue on is the amount of funds available for transfers and going that extra mile in the transfer market. Not buying a second centre back that Ange asked for this window, a top quality centre back. The second one, Antonio Conte asking for a top quality centre back, getting Clement Longap on loan. Harry Redknapp asking for Carlos Tevez and Gary Cahill in January of 2012 when we were on a title push, getting Louis Saha and Ryan Nelson on a free transfer.
Disrespect for Ryan.
He's talking about Carlos Tevez, and
then we get Louis Saha. Pochettino going 18 months without a signing when Daniel Levy said that the building of the stadium would not influence the transfer. And as well as that, when he asked for the rebuild, getting sacked 4 months later after taking us to a Champions League final during that summer without a signings. AVB having Modric, Van der Vaart and Bale ripped away from him in 18 months. One day Ramos, our last manager to win us a trophy. His reward for that, having Keane, Berbatov and Defoe, 60-plus goals ripped out of our side and replaced with Fraser Campbell on loan.
Yep.
So don't come to me and say that there's a Levy agenda when there clearly isn't. I'm just giving you the facts. Joe Lewis is just a bigger. I can see your comment. Joe Lewis is just a big of a problem as Daniel Levy. But Daniel Levy runs the day-to-day operations at Tottenham Football Club. Fact. He's the one that controls everything. Joe Lewis is just there to look good and stay out the limelight. Well, he failed with that, by the way.
He did just a bit. He did just a bit. But do you know what? Enough talking about that fool. I don't want to.
Can I add one thing to that? I just want to add one thing to that. So,
go on, bro.
I've been speaking to somebody. I'm friends with somebody really kind of high up in the club. And they've actually spoke to me because I was talking to him, and you can only say certain amount of stuff. Yeah. And I said, like, when are we going to release these funds? 50 million here, blah, 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 blah. And his words were something along the lines of, Daniel Levy's always going to be the bad guy, but he's not actually the bad guy. That was his words. And I said, like, tell me a bit more. And he said, Daniel Levy's valuation as a person is a few million. You can't run a club on a few million. Hence why he's bringing in NFL. He's bringing in the Formula One because he wants to make the club sustainable just in case somebody else higher above him decides to pull the rope from his neck and then he's stuck with nothing. So I'm Levy out. I'm Enoch out. I want change. But from what he was saying, and it was a bit of an eye-opener, it was more you're shooting the man in the firing line rather than the guy that's robbing the bank behind the scenes kind of thing. You're shooting a getaway driver, not the guy robbing the bank. And I kind of thought, again, I do agree with everything. But if, for example, we wanted another £40 million centre-back and the real money in the club and the owners, the real owners, say there's not another 40 million to spend, Daniel Levy then does have to look at the loans, the long lays and things like that. So, again, I want them both out. They're both toxic. I want to start fresh. But could that be a little insight? Is it not always Levy's fault? Is it more than Levy? Is it Enoch and stuff rather than?
I will add to this, James. I will add to this. Then we'll change the subject. But first of all, big up my good friend Craig for for the Super. Big up, lads. Glad to see the Premier's back. Tottenham till I die. Levy out. Yeah. What I will say with this, and I've said this all the time, I don't class Daniel Levy as the sole responsibility. What I've said many a time. If you protest for Lewis, what the hell does he care? He's on a boat in the Bahamas. Probably doesn't even know we're playing. Probably doesn't even know what's going on.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
Literally, it's all drop a duck's back to him. It's like, oh yeah, I'm here. I don't hear it. I don't see it. He's there. He's there. He watches over this. He sees what's going on. And with all the money that has been generated, things could have been done better. And he is in the firing line. But you know what? It's enough of that, man. Because today is a joyous day. Because I saw a wicked article yesterday from The Athletic. Wicked article. Like the American presidents do, one of the first things they do is their 100-day address and set out what they're going to do in their 100 days. Well, yesterday was Ange's 100 days as manager of a football club. So we're going to do the 100-day address for him and go over what we think he's done to this club. We'll each go round, and I'm going to start with you, Johnny. What are you making out of the first 100 days of Ange? And good morning, Ren.
I think the biggest thing here is how he's managed to turn something massively toxic. I mean, in all my life of going to Spurs, I've never seen such toxicity at our stadium, where fans were fighting fans, right, inside the stadium. You know, if you shouted Levy out or whatever, you know, someone behind might turn around and hit someone. I've never seen anything like that. And it was just toxic. People were angry going into the stadium and fuming when they were coming out. And the atmosphere on the pitch, the booing of the players, no one was behind anybody. To then go to Man United, the Man United game, and see fans who would leave in the 82nd minute or the 85th minute, still there, still in that stadium, 10 minutes after the game had finished, screaming, cheering. Just the whole place has been lifted, and it's been lifted in such a quick time. It's quite incredible. Some people say it's false optimism. When I was with some people last night, oh, you're getting carried away. I don't care if I'm getting carried away, right? Having spent 3.5, 4 years in the doldrums watching that, having to face friends and people talking, oh, your team is shit, you know? All right, oh, yeah, we're shit. Right, waiting for an international break, so you got a break from it all, to now where, you know, you can't wait to get to the stadium. You can't wait for Saturday to come. You know, all your mates are buzzing, and your Gooner mates and your Chelsea mates are going, yeah, this Ange guy, you know what, he's pretty good, isn't he? I mean, I don't like Tottenham, but, you know, I really like him. So that ability, and even the press conferences, we're getting honesty. We're actually getting honesty. We're getting it as we want it, right? Warts and all. I'm taking this. I'm taking that. It's not the player's fault. It's my fault. Where we got everything else. And this is a guy who wants to actually be here and is proud to manage our club. And for me, that is it's what we've all wanted.
Yep. Just before I go to James, before I go to you, Jason, do me a favour. I was trying to find you on Twitter yesterday because I needed to speak to you. And for some reason, I can't find our interaction. Can you just send me a DM and I will get in touch with you straight after the show? If possible, please, Jason. Thank you. There is something going on tomorrow. I won't be there because I will be with my family for Jewish New Year. Ryan will be there tomorrow. But please do get in touch with me, mate, and send me a DM. Jason,
with a new
James, 100 days of Ange. What are you saying?
Well, I think you can only echo almost what Johnny said. I love the way he talks. I love the way even the new guy coming in, the first thing he says, they're the attitude that we want to bring into this club. That's the first thing he says. It's the attitude we want in the club. I think the fans were so distant from the football team. It was unreal. I couldn't see a way of repairing it. I actually couldn't see any way of actually bringing the fans and the club back together. an example, when Conte and Mourinho, I mean, my son is football. He plays 4 or 5 times a week. Everything is football. And he did not watch a Spurs game for about 2 years. He was like, this is awful. Why are you watching this? It's rubbish. And he'd come up with the things like, oh, I'd be better. I was like, yeah, you would. Like, what's going on? And this season, he's been like, right, when's Spurs playing? Right, they're on Saturday. Right, okay, what time? 3 o'clock. Okay, will I be back in time for football? I'm like, yeah, football's at 10 o'clock. We'll be back 12. And he's like, and he's been like planning the day around him watching football, and he's 10. So that's the only example I can give it from somebody that hated football, who loves football, now is back in love with the game. And that's the most important thing for the future of our club. With somebody like Conte, if you win, then it's great because all the kids follow the trophy. But if you're playing crap football and don't win, how are you going to bring in the next level of Spurs fans? So what Ange has done for me is nothing short of a miracle.
There you go. That's follow that one up, Ryan, and then I've got to try and follow you up. So do your worst or do your best. Go on. 100 Days of Ange. Summarise.
Overall, he's been a 10 out of 10. You can't complain. I believe the League Cup exit, he was partly to blame, but he also was almost forced into having a look at new players because our god-awful pre-season, he didn't have a chance to have a look at anyone. We only had 3 games. His words during the press conferences, the way he dealt with the Harry Kane situation was marvellous. I don't think anyone could have dealt with that any better. Mm-hmm. The one thing that worried me is his Talk Sport interview when he said everything is on him. He is to blame for everything. It kind of means that I just felt like that was a bit too soon to say that. Like it's only been 3-4 games and he's done brilliantly, but we had our best start to the season ever last year under Conte. Just everyone remember that. We did have our best start to the season ever under Conte after about 10, 11 games. So we have got to still keep our feet on the ground with Ange. We've only got, I think, 16 games till January. We need to get through to January and we need to strengthen this squad. That is the main thing. If we can get through to January and we're 4th, 5th, around there, I will be very excited. I just don't want this to fall off a cliff and treat it like it's a period. I want this to be a long and successful marriage.
There you go. Well, first of all, get well soon, Steve, my man. Get well soon, Stevie. Right, I've seen a few people talking about Sheffield United and the match coming up. That is the next subject that we will be discussing. What can I say about Ange Postecoglou? Now, I made it very, very openly clear that I wanted Thomas Frank from Brentford. That was my number 1 pick. And obviously, we didn't even go in for him. I'm delighted we didn't. I didn't even. I'd spoken about Ange, but I hadn't. I hadn't put him in my top pick, but I'd spoken about him with a couple of people, and one person in particular who was a Celtic, lives in Glasgow and watches Celtic, and a big Spurs fan, Ian Meth, who kept waxing lyrical about how good this man is. Like, he said it from get-go, get this man in, and we all knew that coming in, I don't think a manager had come in to this club in such a mess in our history. I honestly don't. The way the season ended, the way the fans were, the way the feelings were towards the board, and also he came in so late, and started his job July the 1st, and he had, for me, the most amount of work to do of any manager in the Premier League and the least amount of time to do it. And when you heard things like we're signing James Maddison, and James Maddison says, whether you come or not, you're going to see a totally different Tottenham. Mark my words.
That's massive. That's massive.
That was one of the. You hear that thing, you're like, my God, and then you look forward to it, and then you look at the West Ham game, which was the first Ange management me and Johnny did. 32 attempts on goal. Incredible football with players that have been under these 2 managers previously, and 3 and maybe even 4 with Poch, and couldn't get a tune out of them. And it's like, Jesus Christ. Then obviously we had the broken pre-season. But just everything this man has said, he's had to deal with Harry Kane as well going. So this club was like, oh my God, we've lost our talisman. We have gone from boring press conferences that are just so predictable. You could just put them on repeat with Antonio Conte and Jose Mourinho. Just go, don't even sit there. Just play my interview from the last game and just say the same nonsense to a guy that's so refreshing to hear. Like I said the other day, he could read the back of a cereal box, and I will sit there in amazement at the way he reads it. I want to listen to anything he says. I saw a thing as well on Sky Sports today where Porro was talking about Ange and how he has revitalised him and what he's doing. James Maddison also said the players are bought into what he's saying. And my God, I mean, Ryan has been to most of the games, so has Johnny. And we were all at Burnley, and I have never, ever seen an atmosphere like that in any game at any time. And I had a season ticket holder for 10 years, right? It was in the dark days of the 90s. What this man has done is in 100 days, he has literally turned water into wine, in my opinion. What he has done, all right, the cup loss, we're all gutted about that. And for me, that was our most serious opportunity of winning a cup. That was our easiest road to Wembley and victory. And obviously it's done, it's gone. But you look at it now, a lot of the players that we wanted gone have gone, apart from a couple which we know about, blah, blah, blah. But now the new players by far outweigh the deadwood. It's a new 100%. Dawn. It's a new dawn. I was about to break into song there. It's a new day. It's a new life. Oh my God, I did break into song. But yeah, I just think he has been. I don't think any of the managers that were linked. Who do we have linked? Nagelsmann. I don't think he would have had the impact.
Yeah, no way.
I don't think he would.
No way.
There are other. Slot. Maybe, but I don't think he would have.
I like Slot personally.
You did. We did a massive thing about it, Johnny. I mean, with the Arnie Slot, where that's it. And you got to remember, with all these manager fouls, it was getting more and more daunting for this manager that was coming in to do this. Like what happened when we were trying to go for Conte the first time. It looked like we're going through another management search that might get a bit embarrassing. But I tell you what, fair play, because this man has come in. Even when you watch his interviews after the matches, he's a breath of fresh air, isn't he, James?
Yeah. There's a couple of things I wanted to say. One of them is I'm big enough to stand on the hill and scream that he's the best man for the job. I'll die on that sword. But I'll also, if he does something wrong and makes a mistake, I'll also be able to say, yeah, you made the mistake. So for me, the cup was a big mistake. So you're allowed to say if someone's made a mistake, and if someone's doing well, that's fine. See it up, right? And with what you said there, Ryan, about all the like he said, all the responsibility. If it doesn't work, it's on me.
Yeah. I
think that could be a very, very wise tactic towards the players. So encouraging them to sort of say, like, if we play from the back and you make a mistake, that's all on me. So I think as a whole, I know we're all thinking trophy, but is that a really good little feeder as in, this is all on me. If we don't get to where we are, it's on me. And is that him saying, we're going to play my football, and if we start making mistakes, that's all on my head. I'll take the responsibility for that.
Can work both ways. Can work both ways in terms of, if you look at the hierarchy, that sends a message to the board saying, well, it's your fault, I'll just bring in another manager to try and get the best out of these players.
Yeah.
So we're back in that same cycle again.
I think the thing is with Ange, I do think that he works for someone called Daniel Levy, and therefore ultimately Daniel is his boss, and ultimately, all this, I'm my own man and I won't be dictated to. I really bought into it, but that fell away when I saw the list that went on the plane. I was thinking, right, if Ange is his own man, he'll be like Conte, and there'll be 5 or 6 players that have been told, you're not on that plane, thank you very much, goodbye, because he's already assessed them, right? There's no way Ange hasn't known for quite a long while. Look at Y-Scout, speak to the people, who the deadwood that need to be removed from the club, right? Even if you're not at the club. So they went on the thing, and then you saw Eric Dyer get the captain's armband a couple of times, which was very disconcerting. then him praising Ben Davies as being a fabulous player. They were worrying signs for me. I think the next test for me was Eric Dyer and Lloris forced upon him just to make up the numbers, to fill up the squad. I think the acid test for me would be fine if we don't see those players. They're in the squad, but they're not there. If I see them on the bench tomorrow and Eric Dyer is there ahead of Phillips, I will be questioning for the first time how much control he really does have and how much Levy is still exerting pressure on his managers to do what he thinks is right. And we all know after 23 years, football ain't his bag. Making money's his bag, not football decisions. Let football decisions be made by the people you employ. You know, when you run a company, and you have a huge company, you have divisions. I hire a social media guy. There's no point in hiring a top social media guy so that when he puts the social media out, you keep saying, well, you know, I don't want it done like this. I want it done like this.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, and that's what I'm saying. Delegate, and let them get on with it. Let's see. But I love Ange. I mean, it's refreshing. I just thought that he would be a little bit firmer in some of these things. So getting rid of Sanchez for me at the midnight hour with no chance of replacement is like playing Russian roulette, but with 3 bullets, not 1.
We shall see. With I would have preferred if Ange went, you know, it's a group thing rather than isolating himself or isolating the team. Like, it's the club.
I don't know. Yeah,
win or lose.
I do agree with you. I do agree. I just thought maybe he was trying to. I mean, some of these players' confidence to get them up even more than they already are. He could have said, "It's all on me. You play how I said we play, and if you make mistakes, it's my responsibility." That's more the sort of thing I was thinking.
Well, you know what, James, and you look at it, as you mentioned, it's not even like a few people in the comments have said. The fact that this brand of football has come within 100 days with a lot of the same crop. Obviously, the new players have come in, but as a lot of people, we were getting slaughtered in the media, and at some point, rightly so. And people were like, once Kane's gone, that's it. We're bottom half. Even fans were saying it. But he's come in, and now even the pundits and people in the media are all talking about how incredible our football has been to start with. And you look at it, people. The thing I still can't get, and it blows my mind every single time. We'll talk about one player that just epitomises it. Is Yves Bissouma. Antonio Conte had an ace up his sleeve, an absolute pair of aces, but for some reason just wouldn't find a way to play it. If you look at it when he went to Chelsea, Antonio Conte, he played a different formation, and then obviously they got busted by the filth, and then he went back to his tried and tested, which won him the league. Now, what I don't get is his tried and tested weren't working at Tottenham. Why didn't he change it to try and incorporate? I know Yves Bissouma was injured at the end of the season.
Because he's obstinate and he's arrogant, and that's and that's why, Brian. He managed to turn where Ange is trying to turn water into wine. He turned champagne into piss, right? I mean, like Yves Bissouma. Think about how excited we were when we signed him for 25 million. We were like buzzing. And then to hear in, was it October, get told, oh no, Bissa can't play because, he doesn't understand my football. What are you talking about? He's 26 years of age and has played at Lille, he's played at Brighton, he's played in the Premier League, he's played attacking midfielder, he's played defensive midfielder, he's a deep line midfielder. What do you mean he can't understand how to play football, your system at 26? And one would suggest that your system is convoluted and overcomplicated because it didn't bloody work. Look at
Well, you know what?
Yeah.
Let's get on to this now. It's Sheffield United. It's Sheffield United tomorrow. AngeBall is back. I've got to say, very quickly talking about Sheffield United, that forward that they brought in, Archer,
Cameron Archer,
looks looked like a player and a half. He was. I can't remember who it was they played at home last game, but he was. Say again, Everton. That's right. He was devastating. But quickly on Sheffield United before we talk about ours, is there what do you think they're going to bring to the table, Ryan?
What, Sheffield?
Yeah.
I think they're going to be your typical new team in the league coming up. I think this is probably their first big away day of the season. I would say they're probably going to sit back and just try and counter-attack and live off set pieces. So we've got to be something I asked for at Bournemouth, which I got at Burnley. We've got to be clinical in our attacks. We've got to move that ball quick, and we've got to press them really, really high to try and win that ball high up, to overturn the ball and get as many chances at goal as possible. Take the shots from distance. Honestly, having Maddison in this side could work well today or tomorrow, because how often do Spurs frustrate us in terms of the amount of times they try and walk the ball into the net?
Yep.
I think tomorrow game to try and walk the ball into the net. You've got to, whenever you get a chance, shoot on sight, deflections, anything can happen, because they're going to be so deep. I honestly think they're going to be 18-yard box. That's where they're going to be setting their defensive line rather than halfway up the pitch. So get your shots on goal and move that ball quick. You have to move the ball quick when you have against a deep lying defense, because they'll just stifle you out.
There you go, James. What's your concern with Sheffield United, if any?
I actually haven't got any concerns, to be honest. I think the two most important players for me tomorrow are going to be Van der Ven and Romero, because for me they're going to be on the halfway line, if not inside their half. So I think that is going to be. I think it may be a real test for them, is in when they are played through balls, get back and sort of cover. But I would like to see the likes of I think Solomon. I also think Johnson. I'm a big Johnson fan. I think that those guys running into the box when there's a crowded box is potential penalties and trip ups and disasters to happen. So I'm really looking forward to it. I think we've got loads of picklocks now. I think Kulu gets a lot of slate, but he has got a good passing range. He has got the key to the lock at times. Maddison has. Son, if he can continue that form, I think he's got a bit of a point to prove. And then you've got Solomon and Johnson, who are new, who are all going to be fighting for one spot. I'm really happy with things, to be honest. I think Bentancur, hopefully, coming back to training, will not push Sarr, but make Sarr open his eyes and say, this is my chance. This guy's coming back. Like, whether I like it or not, he's going to come back. And I think that could be a good thing as well.
There you go. And Johnny, any
Bentancur
concerns with Sheffield United?
Yeah, Bentancur won't be back until probably December.
No, but I'm just saying, you know, when you're position and you've seen someone else come in, you're like, oh, hold on a minute. I need to perform.
They're going to play low block, counter-attacking football, Cameron Archer. You know, they're going to be difficult to break down. That's why I was saying, Brian, I think, you know, if Gio is fit, those last sort of 20 minutes to bring Gio on, to work with Maddison, those little touch passes, to get brought down for a little niggly free kick, which we can score from. I think if we can score early, this game's going to be depending on scoring early. I basically think Man City struggled to beat Sheffield United. Let's be serious, right? You know, they won 2-1.
Yeah,
with a goal in the second half. And you know, I think it's not going to be the easy game that we think. I really do believe.
Yeah,
and if we do beat them, great.
I think this is the biggest test we've had. I honestly do, because obviously it is the low block. And I have to say, you two have had your cameras off so often. I don't know what you're doing. You're not in the same house, but God knows what you're doing. But yes, it's been exciting to see your screen go off, his screen go off. Then what? It's been like a tag team. It's been
they're
very
in the same room. Don't say.
Yeah,
exactly. They're spending all my money on Amazon. I've had about 400 Amazon parcels turn up.
But yeah, we'll see what we'll see what happens. But I think this is the time where we're going to have to find the answers. And like Ryan and James said, but James Maddison, you look at Kulu. You mentioned Kulu. yes, he's got a good pass on him, but James Maddison is someone in this game or any game. If you need one pass at one time to get to a player, then you don't look no further. You'd put your money on the ball finding the player. But Kulu at the moment hasn't been his best of starts, but we all know the capabilities that guy has. But enough about United. We'll go around the same way again, Ryan. What are you expecting from the game, and do you expect the lineup to be the same as Burnley?
Barring any injuries or late niggling doubts, I expect the same lineup. We played faultlessly against Burnley. So, same team. Solomon with his pace and behind, Son with his pace, Maddison with his creativeness. I can't see many changes unless he wants to. He says he doesn't want to think about the filth next week, but he may see this as an easier game and maybe wants to rest maybe a Basuma and put in Højbjerg. Other than that, I don't see many changes. I can see it being the same starting 11.
Okay. James?
I think it'll be the same starting 11, maybe barring one player. And I think that what Richarlison come out and said, I think that first day at training, he would have either come back sort of sad and sort of a bit like the world's on his shoulders, or he would have been bouncing back into the training ground thinking, that was, I feel better now, I've got that off my chest. And I think that depends on whether he starts or not. If he's come back with that attitude as in the world's been lifted off my shoulders, then I could see him starting and Son going back on the left. But if not, he also may be thinking mental health is more important. I'll keep you out for a few weeks and we'll continue as the same. So for me, that's the only one sub I could see happening.
Okay. Johnny?
Can't see Richarlison bouncing in after a flight from Peru at altitude.
Right.
He's probably absolutely gubbed. And that's why, I don't think he arrived till yesterday morning, came straight in. I can't see him starting just for that reason. And also Romero playing in La Paz up in Bolivia. That was a hard game. Hopefully that leg's okay. He's still got to. The one thing that concerned me, just quickly going back to the game, right? The one thing that's concerned me on the last two, maybe three games, we need to start quicker. Against Burnley, you said faultless, Ryan. That first few minutes was awful, right, against Burnley. We conceded the goal, and we were like in panic mode because Burnley really pressed us. And if I was Sheffield United, I'd be looking at those first few minutes and saying, look, they pressed, and look what happened. They made the mistake. You actually saw the rare sight of Christian Romero going, calm down, right? Which I was like, really?
That was the most funniest thing of the whole day.
Romero going, calm down. I mean, really bringing them together. That's what being a vice captain does for you. No, I think the team should, in essence, be the same. I think. But I think in this game, it's the subs that are going to be really important late in the game if we don't score an early goal. So I'm hoping Gio's back, fit on the bench for some little intricate work to try and beat that low block late in the game with him and Maddison and whoever else is on the pitch.
Right. So Craig just put a super chat, but I just wanted to say we are 37 subscribers away from hitting a massive milestone of 7,000, which is massive for us. And there's 171 of you in here and 47 likes. So if we can just get that likes up for the Jewish New Year to celebrate that AngeBall is back and get those subscribers up, it would be absolutely awesome. But Craig's got a change of formation. What do you think about trying? Would you try it against Sheffield United? Kulu, Madders and Bissouma in midfield, with Johnson on the right. Now, the one thing I'll say about this, to begin with, I'll go first and we'll go around the table, is I don't think you can take Sarr out of the team. I just simply because that means dropping Sarr, and I am very, very opposed. I think it'll be hard to find any two people, maybe Ben Daniel with me and Johnny, that rave about Sarr as much as we do. I think this kid is a star, and the dynamic of Bissouma, Madders and Sarr have been you just got to look at the Manchester United game. Those three complement each other so well. I think Kulu starts this game and Johnson comes off the bench. And I think the same for Arsenal, although I think there's more of a chance Johnson starting against Arsenal than he does against Sheffield United. Johnny, what do you think about this?
No. Look, I've said I don't believe Kulu can play on the right. Ultimately, it's not his best position. 1v1, not enough space for him. And I said the same about Son on the left-hand side. I believe Kulu eventually will gravitate towards a more central role, potentially as an 8. I think maybe as an 8, he could gravitate towards. There is more to his game, but he's got to use his other foot. I don't see that happening. Personally, I think Johnson has got a lot to learn still. His first touch isn't great, but he has incredible pace. Pace is not enough. His finishing is abysmal. If you saw the Wales game and some of the other games, I think the three of us could have done better than what he was doing the other night.
I remember the series
for 50 odd million. I don't see that. I see potentially Johnson gravitating towards that role where Kulu is, yes, because he's better on one-on-one take-ons with the pace and cutting that ball back to put it into the box. So I see him there, but not yet. I think it's too early. Too early. Off the bench.
James, your thoughts on that formation in the midfield that Craig said?
Yeah, no, I don't think anybody deserves to be dropped, to be honest. I know Kulu's getting a lot of stick, but what is it? 2 assists, 1 goal in 4 games? How do you drop someone like that? And he's probably been one of our worst players. So, fair enough. I can't see anything changing. I don't think anyone deserves to be dropped.
I can't see.
There you go. Ryan, what did you think of that formation or that midfield 3?
It's way too offensive. You can just see that there's no one sitting there, and I think that's what Sarr does very well. When Bissouma, they almost interchange, which is we always talk about interchanging front 3.
Yeah, they pivot.
Yeah, but they alternate very well. Like if Biss and Sarr go, Maddison will drop deep and play that deep line playmaker role, and if Maddison and Biss go, Sarr will sit in, and vice versa with Maddison and Sarr. I did see a really funny comment made on a Facebook page, Spurs Facebook page, when I think it was when Bentancur comes back, and that's shifting Maddison over onto the left wing, and I'm like, absolutely not. What? We saw what, Spurs Facebook page.
Do they lay us awake at night trying to dream up stuff that is just unnecessary?
We all saw what happened in England. If it's not broken, don't fix it.
Right, and that's it. It's kind of like with the Lampard, Gerrard and Scholes. It was like, right, how do we do this? Let's just whack Scholes on the left so we get Gerrard. No. James Maddison has been nominated and probably will win Player of the Month, has been electric in the centre, has been absolutely unstoppable. Oh, let's just move him to the left.
Yes, let's just knock his bloody confidence and shove him on the left wing.
What might happen though, Ryan, which I do expect a bit of tinkering, because the only game he's made a significant tactical change was against Bournemouth, where he dropped Maddison into a much deeper lying role, where I think 40-50% of the balls he was picking up were in his own half deep. And that was to counter Bournemouth's setup. And as you noticed in that game, at the start of the second half, we started to lose control of the game, and Bournemouth were coming in, and then he changed the tactics and brought on the calming influence. Someone else agree with that, of someone like Pierre Højbjerg, who had a fantastic international break. By the way, guys, all you haters out there who want him gone, I
have to say as well, now that you've just mentioned calming influence, let's get to a subject where I'm sure calm will be the exact opposite word of where I'm going. Let's talk about 2 people and do they make the bench? And I think people know the 2 I'm talking about. And I'm going to go to Ryan first. Ryan, do you expect to see either or both Lloris or Dyer on that bench tomorrow?
So on the 25 that have been picked, we've got 2 that are injured. Lo Celso and Bentancur, if I'm correct. There may be one more. And the goalkeeper, one of our 5.
7.
Yeah.
7.
Yeah, are injured. So we've got 22, 11 plus 9. So those 2 are going to be the 2 that miss out by my logic. So there is they still shouldn't make a 9-man bench.
You got to love Kuva. You've got to love Kuva. Okay. James, do you reckon either of them
That's
made the bench?
Okay, so one of them may make the bench if that's the case, because Sessegnon's injured. So yes, that's 4 out. So one of them may make the bench, just to fill up numbers, or he has to pick 8 on the bench, which would actually be, I would love that, just to pick 8, just to leave them off.
Well, that would be a bigger show of you're in the squad, but you got no business here. James, what do you think? Do either of them make the bench tomorrow?
I think. I mean, I don't want any of them near the club at all. I want them all to be in the Bahamas enjoying their weekly money and not being anywhere near the club. I'd rather that than anywhere else. But if Ange doesn't pick any of those 2, I'm even more of a fan, to be honest. If he sticks his neck on the line and goes, nah, not a fan, then I'll rate that even more. For me personally, I do think Hugo Lloris is better than Ben Foster. Personally, I do. So
Ben Foster, maybe. What about
sorry, yeah, Forster, yeah, sorry. I personally think Hugo's better than Forster, so I would have, if I was picking the best bench, then Hugo would be in it over Forster for me. But I would love to see him put his neck on the line and go, nah, none of these are in my club. None of them are in there. I think that is massive, absolutely massive, if that's the case.
Yep, Johnny?
Not for me at all. You've got Hugo Lloris, whose ego has been dented, right? Who said he was leaving. Thanks very much. Adios. Refused 4 separate deals. Refused to accept the payoff that he was offered by the club. Has fallen out and lied after the Newcastle game. You know, he couldn't remember his injury. That's because him and Dyer had a massive blow up. You think that those 2 should be anywhere near with the baggage they're carrying and animosity they're carrying to Levy or whatever's gone on in the club over the last 8 or 9 years? All too comfortable. There's harmony. There's harmony in that camp now. Do not let these 2 and their toxicity anywhere near what's going on. If I'm like James, I will be hugely disappointed if I see either of them on that bench tomorrow. I would rather he named 8 than put them there. You know, whoever made that decision, if Ange made that decision that he was happy for him to go, and Dyer has not featured in any of the games, then to me, if he's suddenly there on that bench tomorrow, then he's had pressure from above, and he isn't as much of his own man. I mean, are you going to tell me that he's going to come on Dyer and play potentially in the midfield as a holding midfielder? Are we going to see Dyer back in his midfield role, in an emergency role? Because that could say we could end up seeing that in January when Bisser and Sarr bugger off to Africa. No, I'll be hugely disappointed. They shouldn't be anywhere near the side.
I think if we're going by Ryan's mathematical equations, so all my opinions on Ryan's maths, I would pick Hugo in the squad over Dyer, because there's a lot less chance that Hugo would be in the squad, whereas Dyer, a couple of injuries, I'd rather him put the kids in than I would Dyer. So if I had to pick one due to numbers, it'd be Hugo over Dyer.
Yeah, I personally think that like what happened with Eric Dyer being Dele Alli's chaperone, that's what they should be doing tomorrow. They should be doing the meet and greet, go in the boxes and liaise and do what they do. I don't want them anywhere near. If either of them are on the bench, not that I will be a little bit concerned. Not about Ange, but the fact somehow they've managed to do this. I think the toxicity of what's gone on, and I can't see if anyone in any walk of life in a job was the skipper or the manager, the team leader, whatever it is, someone else comes in, you say you're going, it looks like you're going, the captaincy is given elsewhere, and then you're offered options to leave, and because you want to leave and you don't take them, you're offered contracts by or settlements by the club. You don't take that down, even though you want to go, and then you come back into the squad. It's just not right. And before we go into questions from people, I just want to say big up to Danny. I love Tottenham on Tour in the morning before I go to work. Sets me up for the day. Thank you very much indeed, Danny. It's the things we love to hear. There's the reasons we do these shows. Actually, before we do the questions, score predictions. Ryan.
That was one of the questions.
Okay, but so there we go. That's what we do here.
One thing. If I had the choice between either one of them being on the bench, Dyer or Lloris, I'm actually picking Dyer. He never disrespected the club.
No, he just does that on the football pitch, trying to play football.
Yeah, but still, we've got loads of players that can't play football.
He can point from the bench, Ryan. He can do pointing. I mean,
that's fine. I never want to see Hugo Lloris put on a Spurs shirt ever again.
It's one of the greatest pointers to ever play for this club. Do not disrespect Pointy Man.
Yeah, same as Emil Højbjerg.
Guys, I've just had something cut. We're going to do. We won't do questions today, but we will. People, I will get your questions on Monday. I just need to take care of something. So first of all, we'll do around the table score predictions and where people can find you. Go on, Ryan. That's what I asked you first. Fire away.
I'm going to go with a comfy 3-0 Spurs win.
Okay, and where can people find you?
Right here on Tottenham on Tour. You will get my post-match reaction soon after the game. You can also see me on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter, Brian Levy out 14. Currently suspended for about 4 days. I won't go into details. So I will be back tweeting very soon. Obviously on Tottenham on Tour.
There we go. James, brother.
I think it's going to be an absolute smashing. I think 4-0 minimum. Minimum. I think it's good. I think we're going to get the first goal early, then it's going to be game over. And yeah, you can find me Tottenham on Tour on Twitter under James Flower.
There you go. And Johnny?
You can find me here, Johnny H3232 on Spaces. Should be doing one today, later on today. So come and join me on that and come and chat. I know, James, if you're around, mate. Oh, Ryan, Brian, come on and have a chat.
Right.
Yeah.
Ryan's on his plan. He won't be able to join Spaces.
Yeah. And then you can find me on Let's Talk Tottenham 32 on TikTok and Let's Talk Tottenham on Instagram. And of course, here with Brian and Ryan and everyone, Tottenham on Tour and Anger Management. I think the score, I'm going to give 2 scores. I think if we score early, it's going to be a 3-0 victory. But if it's a hard graft, I reckon it's a 2-1.
Okay. Well, people, you know where you can find me. Tottenham on Tour. We are Tottenham TV on my Twitter, on my socials. I'm going for a 2-0 win. So we've got a clean sweep of wins. Let's hope we do it. Thank you, everyone.
And break the record, Brian. Sorry.
Don't die. You jinxed it. You jinxed it. You jinxed it.
It is what it is.
You jinxed it.
1965. It will be
if we lose. If we
lose. It's not my fault. I can't control it.
Yeah, you can. You jinxed it. You jinxed it. I'm superstitious. You jinxed it. But listen, everyone. Like, comment, share, subscribe. And as always, Levy out.